Thank you for attending today's webinar. Oh, like always, we'll be talking today about updates. Then we'll be covering journal locking and what is it, what has it done, and how to break free from the ability to get locked and then have to clear it. And then kind of the future where we're heading with some journal locking updating. And then we want to do talk about saving report parameters. I've been noticing a lot of people don't do this or haven't done this in a while. And so I thought I'd cover this once again so that you guys get under, start utilizing the features that are there to speed up your day and make things easier to remember. All right, so without further ado, let's go into ProFund, and we'll start with what has been updated. And there's not a whole lot that happened this last little bit. So we covered these updates last month. So the one nice thing is there were no updates this last month. But believe it or not, in February, we were all running the same software for all this time. So that's a good thing. I'm excited about that. So we have that, stabilizing everything. So let's jump into today's first topic, which is journal locking. And a lot of you have kind of, fought with this. So when you come into, there's certain applications like the import applications, the payroll post. A lot of times in the history, like when you went into payroll post, let's just go into it. Payroll post. Open payroll journal. There we go. Okay, so when you run payroll post, you would have a journal coming in, and you would try to open it. So what we did in our software, so that if I was trying to open up this journal 19931, let's go to something that's already open. So if I was going to go to 19327 journal, and you wanted to open up 19327, only one of us can have that journal open at a time. So we invented this thing called journal locking, so that if you on your desktop were to open that same journal, I couldn't open mine, or if I opened it, then you can't open it. Even if we do this at the same time, only one of us will get the journal. The other one will get a locked message. So it's important to understand that is essentially what we're trying to do is stop people from overstepping and writing on top of the data that somebody's already done. Well, this also had a unique problem in the fact that when we're talking about imports, the imports is a one-time event. So not only does imports have to lock a journal, they have to lock the time card system. So what we wanted to do instead of locking the whole time card system is we said, we're only going to allow one person in the organization to import a time card. So let me go ahead and hit cancel here. And so if we come into import time cards, now once I have this open, I am the only one who can open this. Nobody else can open it in your system. Once you have it open, it's locked. You have the rights to deal with this. Nobody else can do that. And we did that so that way, if you're busy importing time cards, we don't want somebody else to also import those same time cards, obviously. So rather than building a system that would fight with each other like that, we said, let's just make the piece that's going to import a single entity, one person piece. So in doing that, we have ourselves in kind of a little bit of a, issue where sometimes when you're doing the import, something happens in the middle. So if I come into import my work, for instance, and I go ahead and I pick a date. I don't have any time cards in the system yet, so can't do that one. We'll do the other one. I don't even know what dates are here, so can't really show those. But anyways, you get the idea. So if something were to happen in the middle, it leaves these things locked. Let me think if I can do I think I can do a barcode one, which they all work exactly the same. So as far as the locking goes. So if I go to inventory and I import barcode, it's saying right now that barcode gun is being used by Philip Torres and is unable to load. So again, you get the locking understanding that somebody is using the time card gun and we cannot get access to it. So it kind of tells you what's going on. So if I look at this again, it says somebody else is using it. Now, if that's a problem and they shouldn't be using it and it's not supposed to be locked, we simply can do the following. We can look at coming into the tools and doing a repair GL post control table. So if we do that, it's pretty quick. So if we do this, then we can go ahead and say yes to the exit. And we'll come back to running Pro Fund Accounting. And now if we go into inventory, import barcode scanner, now we're in. So, so if I did something in here or I, click on the load the data, I think I do have some scans in here real quick for earlier this week. Yep, got a couple of them. But if I then were to, let's say something blew up, and the only way I can simulate that is just by ending the task. Go to Pro Fund Accounting. So if I just end the task, that's like it blew up in the middle. And then if I come back into Pro Fund Accounting, run it again. And we go back into inventory and we go and import barcode scanner. It says I can't get into it. That's interesting, Paul. You see that message?
Yeah, it did.
It shouldn't have let me in. Okay, so we found a problem already today. Fun. All right. So anyways, the idea is that was supposed to come back and say that, somebody else has the barcode locked. Yep, it's going to let me in. So that's the idea of the locking, is that the main thing is it gets cleared from the tools in this repair GL post control table. And I gotta wait for that to finish. I think it should finish. Is it in one of those little sticky things because of the problem? Yeah, this does take a while to figure out the day. So that's the understanding of locking. When it happens to you, you'll get messages. You'll also see messages from the main programs. Like if I go into, let's do, what's a good one, Paul? AP. We'll go into accounts payable and payables. And we'll go into payroll post. And we'll go ahead and we'll just, let's open up the journal we already have. We can basically, in this place, we could say delete all, or we could put a new item in. So let's just say we're going to go ahead and put a new item in. We're going to add to this 44 North, invoice number 332. The invoice amount is $23.14. Oops. 14 cents. That didn't work out so well. Distribution. Say new, come down here and give us, so great, office, why not? And do a save. And then we do an outer save. Now at this point, I could commit it, or I could just say done and leave the journal pending. And if I say no, you'll notice down at the bottom of our screen, we see this AP Journal 293 is pending. And that's perfectly fine, and we can do that. So when it's pending, that means the next time I try to go into any one of my post programs, it's going to stop and say, oops, you've got, a journal pending. So let's just see that real quick. So if I go into payroll and we go to payroll post, and I click on OK, I'm just going to put a new one in. It says found an uncommitted AP journal. So you have to finish your pending journals before you do new journals. So in order to take care of that, you would come back into payroll post. Sorry, not payroll post, AP post. So if we go in back into payables and we go back to payables post, click OK. It'll just say found it uncommitted. So we open up our existing one, and here we are with our 2314. And we can go ahead then and either commit it, or we can, delete the individual. But we'll go ahead and commit it. And then you'll see that this goes away after we do that. So nothing is pending. And again, the locking is like that. So if we were to go into payables post and something blew up in the middle, it would, instead of say pending, it would say it was active. And when something is active, then your best bet is to log out of ProFund and log back in, and it will change your actives to pending so that you can open the journal again. Let's see, what else have we done with the locking? Anything else, Paul?
We did the locking two different screens at the same time for like import and unimport.
Oh, yes. Okay. There is one other piece to the locking. So let's go into payroll because it's easiest to do. So if I was in payroll post, well, let's get into the other one. If I go into import my work, and then I try to go into payroll post, didn't it stop this? Did you mute?
Yeah, it stops. If you're in import my work, you can't go into unimport.
Oh, the unimport. Okay, so I'm on import, so I can't go into unimport. There we go. That's right. Because as we get more and more into the new stuff, you'll be able to run multiple things at the same time on your computer. But this will stop that. Okay. I understand. That's right. So that's the only other out there locking. So while I had the import open, I'm not. So if I open up unimport, does it do the same? No, of course it doesn't.
It should have.
Oh, I got an import.
I thought we
never checked inside of import. Oh, this is import time card. Sorry, import my work. That's better.
I was gonna say I thought we
unimport only works with my work, not
right.
Oh yeah. What so sorry to confuse you, but there's gonna be more of this as time goes on. There's more things that you can't be doing two things at the same time on your computer that we have to protect and lock, so that way, the locking should be there, but there'll always be, in the tools, the repair piece to do it. And then we're going to be making we're going to be enhancing this a little bit so that it's a little smoother for most people when they're running it, because this requires everybody to get out of the system to run. So we want to try to avoid doing that one. We'll probably have another one here, or we'll be updating just this one to do a little bit more than what it's doing now for the locking. Something like that. Something's got to, we got to change a little bit in something because we got some other issues coming up that aren't as smooth as we'd like them to be. Okay, so that's locking.
Did you want to mention the difference between the repair GL post control tables and the other two?
Sure. Repair control tables, what it's doing is it looks at the locks and it tries to see if there's any locks that you have that are active, even though you're not running. Like, for instance, you got in there and you were running payroll post and something blew up in the middle. You got kicked out of the program. Then you came back in. It's going to say that you still have it running active. One way to clear that is to run the repair control table. So it looks for all the active activity and tries to turn it into pending. So that way you can go back in because you're the same person. So if you're pending, you're the same person and you can run it. The locking should let you in. But if you're not, then, if somebody else has it locked, then it just leaves it because the repair won't be able, because it's not you. The same person logged into the computer wasn't the same person who locked it. The repair GL post control tables, on the other hand, that's a little bit more deterministic. It says, I am going to clear every lock there ever was in the entire system, which is hence why we ask that you make sure everybody logs out of the system before running it, because if you're in the middle of a post program and somebody runs that behind you, everything you posted goes away. So it's a very, it's a dangerous kind of piece to have, but it gives you the ability then to clear every lock and every post or every pending post that's out in the system. That way allowing you to get back into whatever you were doing. So the two are, the repaired GL post control tables is a little bit more deterministic on what it does from the repair control tables. But with the new locking, you have to run the repair GL post control tables right now because the new locking is only affected by that program. The repair control tables doesn't address the new time cards or the barcode gun or some of the other new ones that we've added in the locking. The next part we wanted to talk about was report parameters and how to work with reports and some things that you can do that some people didn't know, maybe did know, just didn't think about it in the same way. First, let's go first into equipment. We'll go to equipment reports. And one of the things I wanted to mention also is while we have a button in each of the different places for reports, like inventory reports, you notice it doesn't bring you, it was just a convenient way. You can change any of the places from the same one. So you can go into any of the other different report areas right from once it's running. You don't have to go to general ledger and go to reports to get general ledger reports. They are all here at the same time. So you can simply just, choose which ones you have access to. Okay. So report parameters work like this. You can run a report. Let's just do the easy one, account list. And reports, have a series of parameters that it asks for. Now, I'm not going to get into, how to work parameters, but we always have this little box in the upper corner that says save. And let's say I want to do, if I run this report, I want to show everything with 7 levels, and I want to suppress the first 2 levels because I don't need to see the 2, 1, the 0. And I only want my active records. I don't want all of them. So I can save that, the ones where I've specified something, and hit save over here. And it asks me for a parameter set name. So we're going to call this one active 7 level. And go ahead and click save. And now that shows up over here. Now, because I'm the owner of this active 7 level, I have the ability to delete it. And I have the ability to share them with my other workers if I want this, out there with the other people. Now, the way this works, we'll go ahead and run it once like this, just so you can see it. So this is kind of the report that I did. I did, all 7 levels to the 5th. So you can, it's just a simple report with some, parameters on it. But let's say then, next week, so we'll go ahead and close this. So let's say next week I'm coming in, and actually, hang on a second. I think I can do this and come back to. Nope, I got to actually close it and rerun it. Yeah, because I have now saved some saved parameters. That's what this little I by the report means. It means that there are a saved set of parameters for this report. So I can come into account list and we'll rerun the report. And of course, it doesn't really load anything, but I have this set over here, and if I just click on it, it automatically fills the different items with whatever I have in the save. And then I can go ahead and run the report and get that same report again. So you can, you can have a bunch of different saves that you have for a report and go after, and be able to do a lot of different things that, you might need to have a certain report that has many deductions. So you need to save those deductions. So what we wanted to do is basically, instead of, having you have to key things over and over and over again, it's very nice to have certain save sets. The places where it gets to be, really helpful is also like on financial reports. You can put your fiscal year dates in. Instead of entering those dates over and over and over again, you can make a save set. And then you can just say, okay, fiscal year 2021, fiscal year 2022, fiscal year 2023, and just name the save sets and then click it. You can also change a save set or kind of edit it by saying, okay, I have this, active 7 level, but now in this case, I needed to have basically both. So we back up. So now it has both the active and the retired, and I need to save that. So then I can hit save again. And as long as I call it the same thing, active 7. Did I spell it differently? I thought you could do that. I must be wrong. So you can save a bunch, evidently you can't edit one. So to edit it, you go ahead and load it, delete everything, and then resave it. Okay, so again, there are other things in here that you can do. Once you have one, you can do this so that it's marked like that, and you can still click it. You can clear them, and then you can click it, and they'll come back. I guess they come back with the saves checked to tell you which ones that were saved in there. Again, you can share it, so we'll go ahead and share it. When you do that, a little share icon shows up. And then what other people do when they see that, so I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'll go to one that I know I picked up from a share in equipment. So if I go to equipment audit, the people that see that you shared it with will only see the share of it right here, but they can't change it. They can change what's here on the report always, but they can't delete this. They can't modify the save set. It's just showing up on their system, so that's not changeable. Now I created a www just playing around with a little bit earlier today, but you get the idea. So, this is what it looks like to the people that are picking up a shared one that somebody else has created. They'll just see it with the share, but they won't see any of the buttons to be able to modify or manipulate it. And then the other thing that's helpful with the save parameter sets is a variety of things come across that really make it look, a little easier to use. Let's see if I can find one. I think I had one. I wanted to set this up earlier, just, time ran out of time. But let me go to general ledger. Your trial balance to go a fiscal year. Fiscal trial balances, financial statements. I like them for those so that you can put in all the dates, a distribution report if you would, if you're going to do that, because there's, you get your day and your month days. So a lot of times you can put in, I would suggest putting it in as the year and then the month in the description, kind of a thing, so that you can easily go from one month to another month and look at all the different pieces. And then we have distribution year to date, which is helpful for just a single one-liner of distribution information. But that's really all I wanted to cover today on the how to share it again. Sure. So if I go into, let's just do a distribution report. And my year dates are always the same. So we always go from 1, 2020. This is, my data is old. I don't have up to date. So I'm trying to go back where I do have data. To 12, 31, 2020. Okay, so instead of putting that in every single time, we can certainly do a save. And we could leave the month ones so that we have to put those in. And so, but then from our save, we click this save over here, not this one, this one. And we will call this one fiscal year 2020. So then, now that I have that, I can, clear all the data. And then when I click on that, it'll bring that into that year, date, and month. So then if I pick the month, 01, 2020, and we go to 01, 31, 2020. And then we go ahead and run this report. Might take a bit. So when the report finishes, here we go. Looks like it's going to click. So this is, the distribution report for the year, or for the month and the year. And then if we go back to parameters, and that's all good, we want everybody else to be able to use that set. You click on this little button right here to share it. You can highlight over it, it'll say share. As soon as I click on it, it shares. If I want to unshare it, because I'm the owner of it, I created it, I can unshare it as well by clicking that button again. So when it's got this little icon there, that means it's shared, and everybody else in my organization can see those and use that parameter set, but they can't make a change to it. But I can still delete this parameter. And if I delete it, of course, then of course they can't see it in their shares. So it's helpful to have set up, a couple of parameters on a lot of these reports that get redundantly putting in, your start dates for the year. So you can, usually I like to have that one here for the year, and then you can have, if months are going to be something you do, now you're just putting in the month dates. It's just saves a step. And if you have certain ranges that you're doing in, depending on, like I said, it all depends on what report you're running, what the parameters are. But you can certainly save any of our parameters that we have. We have the ability to save all of them. So even if you put in like 4 level 3s to suppress in here, we can still save, and all of them will come back. So I just thought I'd mention that this is helpful, and it's available and it's here. And I would like to see more of our, more of the customers, you guys, using it. Because we have spent a lot of time on getting this to work right. All right, so now any questions about anything?
Did you want to cover save layout as well as just save?
Save layout means if I wanted to change this to use like a landscape or special print or any of these buttons and I had save the layout. The problem with save layout is first of all, the save layout is only for your machine. It's not global. So if I change it here, it's not changed on anybody else's machine. And second of all, the thing about save layout that you have to remember is if we change a report, we don't know that save layout is there. And so sometimes the report will look like, horse manure because we've changed a whole bunch of layout in the report, but your save settings, push it to the edge. So that's what the reset does, is it resets it back to whatever, we believe the report should have at the beginning. But really the main thing that you'd be doing is like, if you wanted to see it in landscape always, then you could switch the report to landscape and say save layout, or if you needed to change the margins, you can certainly change the margins on certain things. Just remember that different reports will sometimes have to print a whole second page because the margin, there's not enough room on the paper for it when we print it. So it's kind of a mixed bag. You got to really, run it and test it, run it and test it, run it and test it when you're using the save layout. But again, it's only for your machine. So if somebody else runs it on their machine, that layout isn't there. So our next webinar is April 3rd, I believe. There you go. Next one is on April 3rd, 10 a.m. Again, we'll have some updates at that point because we are going to be updating today. And then we've got other updates we'll be putting out mainly for reports. But April 3rd, 10 a.m. And we'll be sending, of course, out the messages to be able to put the link together for the Zoom meeting for it. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for attending today. Everybody have a great day, and I will talk with you guys on April 3rd.
You are now working smarter with ProFund Accounting. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.